Officially, the Pope has the highest power to choose every bishop, and he is responsible for every choice he makes. But is it really as simple as it seems? After many years where the Curia has become a mix of influences, secret deals, and hidden plans, can we still think that there's complete freedom in these decisions? If you want to understand where the Church is headed, this is the main question we'll look at today. When we consider a pontificate, we usually focus on the most visible and memorable episodes: an innovative encyclical, a change in liturgy, or a crowded apostolic visit. But there's a quiet, almost invisible aspect that profoundly defines the face of the Church: the choice of bishops. In every diocese, responsibility falls on a single figure: the bishop. He is the one who guides the priests, directs pastoral care, and adapts Rome's directives to the daily lives of the faithful, much like a good head of the household who knows how to manage his home. He can preserve or lose, bring clarity or confusion. Ultimately, no papal letter has as great an impact as a well-chosen episcopal appointment. For this reason, beyond symbolic gestures, nuances, and expectations, decisions regarding bishops are the true indicator of the direction a pontificate is taking. Authentic change begins with competent pastors. The rest follows. The initial moments of Leo's pontificate have sparked cautious optimism. His homilies revolve around the mystery of Christ, the tone is measured, and the approach, sober. There have been significant declarations. Important figures in the Church, such as Cardinal Ludwig Müller, have openly expressed their hopes that Pope Leo will restore a sense of peace and unity during church services. Many are looking to him to be a bridge builder, someone who can foster dialogue and understanding among different groups within the Church. There is a strong desire for him to heal long-standing divisions, especially those that have caused tension between clergy and lay people, or between supporters of different liturgical styles. Cardinals like Raymond Burke have specifically requested that the Pope take decisive steps to make the traditional Latin Mass more widely available, emphasizing the importance of respecting the Church's heritage. The Vatican has received numerous formal petitions and heartfelt appeals from both clergy and lay faithful, all urging the Pope to listen to their concerns and act with compassion. In this period of renewed interest in ancient traditions and teachings, many Catholics are finding hope and reassurance in the possibility of a more inclusive and harmonious Church. The new Pope's thoughtful approach has raised expectations that his leadership will bring about a much-needed sense of balance, unity, and spiritual renewal for Catholics worldwide. But is it really so? Just as it seemed like a more serious papacy, true to tradition, was taking shape, some new bishop appointments came out that made people wonder. These appointments, because of who they were and when they happened, don't seem to fit with the first impression. The most talked about example is Monsignor Shane McKinley, who was made Archbishop of Brisbane, Australia, a person known for supporting the idea of women becoming deacons, which is a sensitive and very important topic. The appointment of Monsignor McKinley sent shockwaves through the Catholic community. Monsignor Strickland, visibly troubled, addressed the media with a grave expression, voicing his deep concern about the decision. He did not mince words, calling the nomination a big mess, and warning that it could have serious consequences for the Church's future. Strickland described it as a dramatic break from the Church's old ways, leaving many faithful anxious and uncertain about what would come next. Two recent appointments have made the existing tension even worse. In Switzerland, Monsignor Grogli was confirmed again as the Bishop of St. Gallen, even though he is known for openly supporting that same viewpoint. Meanwhile, in Malaga, Spain, Monsignor José Antonio Statu Huerto was appointed, recognized for his defense of the controversial document Fiducia Supplicans. The recent appointment in Malaga has generated significant discussion, especially considering the unique context in which it took place. The announcement was met with both surprise and curiosity, as many wondered about the motivations behind this choice. The Diocese of Malaga stands out as one of Spain's most influential, with a vibrant community deeply invested in doctrine and liturgical life. This makes any change in leadership particularly impactful. The rapid succession of three recent appointments has raised fundamental questions about the direction of the current pontificate and its relationship with established traditions. How do gestures of renewed interest in tradition align with such controversial episcopal decisions? What criteria truly guide these choices? Ultimately, the most pressing question remains: who really decides the fate of the bishops? It's common to imagine that the Pope personally chooses every bishop, acting with total independence and following solely his own pastoral judgment. However, the reality is much more intricate. The appointment of bishops depends on a multi-stage system, where pastoral factors, diplomatic balances, and historical precedents influence the decision, as do legal restrictions tied to the territory. Often candidacies originate in local contexts, dioceses, episcopal conferences, or cathedral chapters, as happens in countries like Switzerland. The proposals first go through the review of the apostolic nuncio, who prepares a list of 3 candidates to be sent to the dicastery for bishops. In Rome, a crucial phase of evaluation and discernment takes place, where diplomatic and strategic factors are also considered, many of which originate from previous pontificates. The example of Switzerland illustrates this perfectly. There, the election of bishops falls to the cathedral chapter and must be approved by the cantonal government before arriving in Rome. The Holy See can only give its assent or reject the proposal, although a rejection could trigger a diplomatic conflict. In Malaga's case, there was also talk about appointments that came from decisions made during the previous pope's time and were only made official recently. But as some experts point out, there's a big difference between approving and making an appointment public. Whenever a new bishop is announced during a pope's time, the responsibility falls directly on the pope in charge, who has the full power to approve or cancel that appointment. According to the Apostolic Constitution Universi Dominici Gregis, any action that wasn't made official before the pope's death has no effect when the pope's seat is empty. If the new pope decides to approve that action, it becomes completely his. It's that clear. This legal side is really connected to a moral duty. Every bishop who gets appointed shows and carries the church's view of the pope, who picked him personally. That's why people like Athanasius Schneider say the pope has to keep a close eye on the leaders he sends out into the world. It's not just a simple paperwork thing, but a job tied to the pope's role, to make faith stronger, protect what we believe, and keep the people safe. Choosing to welcome or even promote candidates who favor changes that question the church's tradition is not a minor detail. It's a clear choice that brings with it pastoral, doctrinal, and spiritual consequences. What's at stake is not just the reputation of a papacy, but also the direction the church will take in the coming decades. Through the bishops, the clergy are formed, the faithful are educated, and faith is either passed on or it fades away. However, we have to admit that there are structures and balances that have been built up over many years thanks to long papacies that can't be changed overnight. Many departments, diplomatic areas, and entire bishop conferences are still very much tied to a specific way of seeing the church. Because of this, appointments need to be looked at with this in mind too. The new pope is stepping into a system already full of groups, connections, and agreements that need patience, determination, and a lot of clear thinking to get past. Precisely for this reason, every choice carries even greater weight. Every appointment discussed, even if it's the result of existing balances, becomes a test for the determination and true direction of the pontificate. What do you think? If you liked the video, write Amen in the comments. God bless you. God.